Okay, so this is an interview that I want to have with you
Yep.
because I think you're really awesome. I think you're super cool. And how I was introduced to you was through a mutual party, right?
Yep.
But what was said about you, you don't know, is that you're a genius,
Oh.
like wicked genius.
Oh man. Put a lot of pressure on me here.
Yeah, no
Keasha.
pressure, no pressure. You got to live up to the image.
Yeah.
That's how I like to set people up. So
Yep.
that way they just have to live up to it.
Of
Okay.
course.
I have
That's
high
good.
expectations.
That's good.
So basically, you are the king of local SEO.
Yep.
Right. And I know this because you take care of me.
Yep.
You're one of my vendors or one of my people on my networking team that makes me look good.
Yep.
So I wanted to also mention that you have a lot of accolades behind you. How old are you again?
26. I just turned 26 in October.
Yeah, exactly. So to be two-time best-selling author,
Yep.
right? Have your own marketing company.
Yep.
And also to be out and handling a lot of big clients. I've seen accolades about the news and things that you've been on, and you just keep trucking along.
Yeah.
In the conversations that we've had, you and I find that we're a lot in alignment in the positive thinking elements and things like that. And I want to surround myself with people like that. So you're pretty epic. You're pretty
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank
so
you.
just want to get that out there. So now don't mess it up.
Okay. We'll do. Well, I always say that geniuses make things very simple and dumb people make them very complicated. So if I can make things very simple, I think that's definitely my goal for this whole conversation is to kind of break it down a little bit. For
Awesome.
That, so.
Awesome. Well, I ride the short bus, so you got your job pretty big for you today. All right. So for simple folks such as myself that have done business and things, business owners, I find you and I are in the marketing space.
Yep.
So we kind of understand the terminology and everything. Whereas most business owners are just like, that is far past anything I will ever do. I'm going to leave it up to the experts.
Yep.
But when you talk a lot of jargons like acronyms in the military, people are like, WTF. Haha, see what I did there?
It's beautiful.
So can you describe what SEO is for folks like that?
Yeah, so really at the end of the day, SEO is all about getting in front of your potential customer when they search on Google. You know, since 2016, people are getting wiser, right? And where they don't want to be targeted anymore. They don't want to feel like companies are paying to get in front of them or paying to influence their decisions.
Yep.
And so with local SEO especially, they want to look at your reviews, they want to look at your photos, almost get to know you and your brand before using you. So, you know, local businesses like electricians, plumbers, even yourself, they want to feel like, okay, they've got good reviews, they're coming up organically, and they're not paying to be here. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we're really good at.
Absolutely. Basically blasting through the shenanigans.
Yep.
You know, it's like one of the things that I noticed is like with influencers have taken off in the YouTube industry as far as advertising and sponsorships because people are so tired of seeing the commercials and the false advertising. Well, not really. Yeah, it's false advertising, so to speak, to make it seem something that it's not.
Yeah.
And people just are looking for like truth and legitimacy, right?
Exactly.
So,
that's what it is.
through the algorithms and everything with, I used a big word, sorry, through the through the systems.
She's trying to act like she's not a genius. So
that the Google search engine does. It basically brings people up what they call organically, right? Whether it be through the ratings, how many people have viewed their pages, their content that's on there. Like, is it relevant to what you're searching for? So if I'm looking for like awesome boxers,
of course.
like we won't mention what else Google puts into that search box when you do that, but like your content on your page, Google wants to make sure that your search is very efficient. And through SEO, what you do magically is to do all like little coding and programming and words and stuff like that in the page to make sure that people get what they want.
Yes.
Right? And I'm going to say if anybody is looking up my company, of course, I'm number one, and they want to use me. Okay, so what are the benefits of SEO?
So it's kind of the analogy of rather than buying fish, right, you're learning how to fish. So rather than paying Google, you're paying someone like us to get you in front. So rather than, you know, with Google Ads, your competitors can click on it, waste you money, bots will click on it.
Oh, dang, I didn't even think about that. You're like, what's up?
But with SEO, no matter how many times your competitors click, it's all kind of, you're paying to be there, and then it's also more legitimacy. So that's kind of the benefits of, and at the end of the day, you're getting higher quality customers, more customers, and you're not paying out because Google Ads are so much more expensive than they used to be as well. So that's the benefit really of
SEO.
Yes.
Okay, so kind of pulling the curtain away from like the mystery of what you do. What are some of the things that you do to kind of help with the SEO? Like, is it? I'm trying not to be too technical because I know this industry. Like, is it what you embed in the photos of the website? Is it like I know Google My Business, right? And those type of things. What kind of inner workings go into creating the results that you get? Because personally speaking, I've received them, and let me tell you, like, it's pretty phenomenal. Like, especially in a sea of marketing and print shops.
Because I always say we rank number 1 for digital marketing in Kansas City, and if we can do it against all the other companies that say that they're good at it, then we can do it for you, kind of thing. But if you're looking to rank locally, kind of like you or me, you're looking at kind of 3 things. You're looking at your reputation, which means what reviews are on your Google My Business, Yelp. You're looking at Google My Business, which is around like 30 to 40% of the way Google ranks local businesses. And then website signals and link signals. So that's NAP citations, name, address, phone number, how much that is around the web, and making sure that local business directories has your information and your Google My Business is optimized. So that's kind of the very, very elementary explanation kind of what local SEO is. Now, traditional SEO has more like backlinks and all that good stuff, but a local business, like what we do for you, is Google My Business and making sure that the local is optimized.
So why focus on local instead of national?
So if you're a local like electrician, you don't want to get like a Kansas City electrician. You don't want to get calls from Dallas, right? You're not going to go there. But if you're an e-commerce store and you can sell across the nation, you want to rank for...
Like me?
Yeah, of course. So you want to rank, within just like the nationwide. So if someone types in T-shirts, you want to come up in those blue links, but local businesses want to come up in that area.
Absolutely. Just a little tidbit from my experience in what our conversation was when we were doing like our consultation and stuff. I was like, oh, I'm going to reach the world, and you're just like, slow down, Turbo.
Yes.
Well, let's start on a local level and then we can build from there. And as much as I wanted to just like instantly like be explosive and have the highest reach, number one, the fact that you were able to tell me to pump the brakes, because nobody tells me to pump the brakes.
Yeah, of course. I know, I kind of got a stare. I was like, uh-oh.
I was like, what?
Maybe this isn't going as well as I thought it would.
But the fact that you told me to pump the brakes from, as a business owner and you're relying on someone else's expertise, you got to learn when to shut up and listen, right? So I was listening and I was like, okay, why is he telling me to focus on a local level? And you explained it so perfectly to me. Is like, number one, your local reach, and if you're really mastering that, it really filters and aids and helps to the national accountability with the organic searching of your company. So I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you got to make so much sense, Captain Obvious, but okay.
Exactly.
I wasn't salty at all.
No.
Okay, so why did you choose this? Like, why did this scream to you as a passion? Like,
I really am a big proponent on just wanting to help people. I know that sounds pretty typical, right? Always wants to help people. But, when I was a freshman in college, my grandparents called me up and they said, hey, we've got a bike shop out in Florida. We've got a digital marketing company, not sure what they're doing. Can you come out and help us? And freshman in college, of course, I'm going to go out to Florida for the summer.
Yeah.
And I read every book I could. I took every course. I went out there. And to start off, that's a lot of information, kind of just for a business owner. If you're running a business and you also have to learn all of this, it's just you can't, And so I went out there, and my grandparents were doing so many things that just didn't matter. And I said, okay, let's just cut out all this and just focus on what matters, what's going to bring you results. It's kind of like the Pareto principle, right? Where 80% of your return will come from 20% of your actions. And I think that's big in looking at businesses because you get overwhelmed really quickly, especially the older business owners. Well, my first phone was an iPhone, and so these business owners are, 50, 60. They're like, I've got no idea even what this is. And establishing that trust, being like, hey, this isn't important. Well, yeah, we've got good profit margins on XYZ service. I'm not going to recommend that just yet, And so I think cutting through and just showing people, hey, you don't have to do all of this. If you want to really make money, these are the services you want to focus on. And once, I saw, the results and effects that I would bring to businesses, they'll call me, hey, you're the man, we just XYZ broke records. I think that's kind of addicting and wanting to, help more people do it, because I think, it's a passion, but, at the end of the day, it's just helping people achieve their goals, kind of like exactly what you're doing.
So all I have to do to get you to do more for me is be like, you the man.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Stroke the ego.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm down.
Perfect.
And then as far as like the helping people and the producing of results, I think with a lot of entrepreneurs, to be able to do that is really kind of like a high. Like seriously,
Oh, yeah.
like, for me, working both on the digital and the physical platforms, it's like I'll drive down the road and be like, I did that.
Yes.
What's up? Or people are like, oh, Keasha, I saw such and such truck, blah, blah, blah. You told me about it. It looks so good, And I love all those accolades. But at the most, I got to say that one of the most memorable ones is, and it's something like to us, it seems so simple because it's something that's our, our expertise or what we do every day, right? It's our skill. We're like, oh yeah, it's just that. But to somebody else, it just means so much more. And I'm going to tell you right now, for those who are not, technology changes so quickly,
Yes.
right? And the terminology changes so quickly. The language changes quickly. It's like learning 10 different languages every year, right? And for someone to be able to just simplify that and know that they got you, it really brings a level of peace of mind in the fact that you can provide that and make people's lives so much easier.
Yep.
And then make money too.
Yeah. I think
down.
that's why, whenever I found the definition of a genius when we were talking earlier, it's geniuses make things very simple.
Yep.
And idiots make things very complicated. And
Yep.
so when I meet with business owners, they're used to someone coming in and being like, this algorithm X, Y, like, and I'm not that way. I'm like, hey, this is what's important. This is why it matters. This is what we're going to do. And these are the results we brought in previous companies that we've implemented. And they're like, oh my God, thank God. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they thought they were going to walk in and be like geek speak,
Yep.
like,
I'm
so
I'm just
when we
not
do
that
this
way.
program code, blah, 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 blah. And you just feel like, I'm so stupid
You're
right
like,
now.
because if you confuse people, you lose them. And
You
that's
got
kind
it.
of my, same with you, if you make something too intense or the design is just too overwhelming, it's like,
Yeah,
backing
it's too
out.
much,
And so I just, whenever I meet with a business owner, I just keep it very simple. And they're like, we don't care. We just want the end result. We don't care how you get there.
Absolutely.
You got it, and so that's kind of my thing.
Note to all small businesses, just keep it simple.
Yes.
And if you could keep things simple, you would be amazed how much business you get and how profitable you can be.
Yep.
And then that phrase works with internal workings of your business as well as contracting people and getting clients. So,
I always
absolutely.
say, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so let's get into some of the struggles or hurdles that you've had in getting Wise Guys either off the ground, well known, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're all like in the expertise space now, success and accolades and the confetti, but like people don't see the work that goes into it with most companies. So tell me about it.
I think for myself, I've been very blessed to kind of have a family that's kind of always supportive. A lot of people don't get that, And so I think for myself, my first call, whenever I came back, I told my dad, hey, I want to start a company around this when I came back from Florida. I said, well, how do I get clients? He said, well, you just cold call. And being naive, where I didn't know that if I cold call somebody, they're going to be, it's like frowned upon. I thought they'd love to talk to me. Yeah. And so whenever I called, it was one of the biggest companies in Kansas City, and we've got a case study on our website if you want to check it out. But I asked for the chief marketing officer, and they put me through. I don't know if they thought I was her son.
Oh,
whatever.
wow.
And so I went and had a meeting with them, and I think it's one of those things where what I didn't know helped me at the end. And so I think the only problems that I've had was thinking that I know everything or thinking, oh, that's not going to work, and shooting myself down before.
Right.
And so if you think, okay, I'm not going to be able to do this, then you won't. I think that's, if I ever run into a problem, it's overthinking and being like, oh, just stop myself before I go.
Yeah.
Every time I've been like, this company is a big company and I psych myself out, then I won't do well. But if I'm like, oh, they just need somebody that's going to simplify it and make it easy. So that's the biggest thing, is if I've ever ran into a problem, I overcomplicate it, I overthink it, and that's really the big thing.
like, how do you simplify it to just keep going? You know, as the phrase goes, more money, more problems,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And so, yeah.
And if you, if you're there, I think one of the biggest things that, a life lesson that I had to learn is, you know, what you offer is of value to somebody, right? And so, like, it may not be for everybody, might not be everybody's cup of tea, but when you provide a value to somebody, it surpasses anything, right? So whether it be a big company or small company, it doesn't matter. They put their pants on the same way that you do, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, in building my network and the people that I know, I've been surrounded and blessed to be around some pretty phenomenal people that have companies big and small that make little to tons of money, you know? And one of the things that I found is that really there's not much difference,
Yeah.
you know.
The bigger ones are easier to work with sometimes.
Yeah, for
you know?
real though. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know. There's some of the kindest people that I've met, and also on top of that, they've gained the experience and things like that, and any kind of knowledge they could pass along, they do. And I'm just like, I'm gonna gobble it up.
Yep.
Like, dude, I'm Rain Man. Like,
Yes.
let's go.
Yes.
Okay, so is there any advice that you give other small businesses for growth and motivation?
Yeah. I think that motivation is, it's hard to say with motivation. I think it's more about consistency, and because motivation will eventually, you'll get burnout. If you're like, oh, I'm motivated, but doing the steps that are going to produce results every day, just being consistent is going to get you so much farther than oh, I'm motivated, because a year, 2 years, 3 years, I mean, eventually you will burn out. But I just look at what is important every single day. I follow the same steps. I found a process that works. I just do it, and I just don't overcomplicate it. And every quarter, I look back and say, are things changing? Should I do things differently? And if not, keep going. But motivation, I rather have consistency.
Consistency
is one of the things that every business owner and everyone trying to achieve success. Success leaves clues. I mean, people have done what you've done before. Just they've wrote books, they've taught courses on it. Just find it, see what they did, and see how you can improve.
Yeah, I think that's a business hack that you and I share. Like, we're like, okay, I want to do this. There's somebody out there that's done it. And like, I want to learn from their mistakes. You know, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. But one of the things that I've heard in many of the things that I listen to and learn is learn. Don't change anything. Complete it to mastery. And once you've mastered it, then you get creative and you do all the things. And I think that goes along with the philosophy of keeping it simple. It's like you said, success leaves footprints, right? And so, like, if you just follow it, and then you're just like, okay, now I'm gonna like change it up and make it mine. You know, I think that's great. So, 2-time best-selling author. Tell me about the journey to do that. Like, what inspired you to write books and to reach a bigger audience that way? And how did you become a best-selling author?
To start to write a book, I was an idiot. It takes forever, and it's like you get to like the 100th page, and you're like, "Well, this was terrible." But really, I mean, you have all these ideas in your head, and I always like to chase things that are difficult. If I'm content and I'm like, "Oh, that day wasn't hard," then I'm like, "Oh, I did something wrong." You know what I mean? So it's like, what could I do to expand my network and really help more people at once? And so it's like, okay, well, I write a book, and I took a master class from one of my favorite authors, and he's like, "Hey, you just type out topics you want to talk about and subtopics and just type through it." And I'm like, oh, that's easy, easier said than done, right? And, I wrote one, and I decided I was being such a baby about it. I had to do it again because I was like, oh, this is awful. I was being such a baby about it. And so within being in the digital marketing field, I was taken care of within the marketing side of things.
Wonderful.
If you write a book on marketing, you probably should know how to market it.
Just a little bit, drink your own Kool-Aid.
Exactly, yeah. So that was the biggest thing is just, again, consistency. It's like, okay, every day I'm going to type 10 pages, and if it's bad, just edit it. But getting it on paper and just the consistency of it is big.
So how'd you find out? How did they tell you that you're a best-selling author?
Well, I just found out myself. I just went. Well, I got an email, and it was one of those auto-generated ones from Amazon, and it was like, hey, you've reached the #1 list. I was like, oh, cool. And I just,
You're like,
that's
moving
it.
on.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I just closed it out and went about my day. But, I built a big email list, and you email them every week, and then once it launches, hey, it's launched, and they all buy it, and then you're good to go.
Absolutely.
Very simplified version of my process. I
was about to say,
if you need more information, I can walk you through that. But
I know it took longer than that.
yeah. No, it's simple.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to go write a book tomorrow. Okay. How'd you come up with WiseGuys Digital Marketing? Are you like a wise guy, or are you like wise guy?
Well, being extremely German, I'm not Italian for people who aren't watching. And so I went and met with he's the owner of a plumbing company in Chicago. And so he's like, hey, do you know what the wise guys means? I was like, oh, I've got no idea, And he's like, oh, well, it's the mob. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. And I was like, that's why everyone pays their bill on time. I didn't, but no, I just went on the thesaurus and typed in smart man.
That's why you put it. You want to make sure your clients were paying you on time.
Exactly. No, so I went on the thesaurus, typed in smart man, and wise guy came up, and I said, that's perfect.
With a name like that, like it insinuates, I've met your brother. Mm-hmm. He's also part of the company, correct? Yep. Okay. Is there anybody else on your team?
Yes. So there's 10 others.
Did y'all hear that? 10 others.
Kansas
How old
City.
are you again?
Yeah. No. It was better when I was like 20 and I'd walk into these big companies and they're like, how old are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm 19. But now I feel like I'm getting up there. But yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is when you provide value to people, if I give you $1, or if you give me $1 and I give you 10 back, hey, I'm going to give him as much money as I can get,
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And so I think I read this book, I've read a book, it's The Science of Getting Rich. And it was kind of the thing of, to grow, you have to give more to get more. And if you contribute to society, you're going to make it back. And so that's what my guiding light is if someone gives me money, I better give more back.
Got it.
That's why we don't do year-long contracts like others, marketing companies, because I know when we provide value, you'll want to stay. And so that's kind of been my beacon of light is value. Yeah.
I got to say, in working with a multitude of marketing companies, that contract for companies, small or big, it really makes them ponder and think, because when you're trying to lock somebody into a contract of that length and magnitude, it's like, why? Why do I need to sign this? Are you going to provide, is the proof in the pudding? Are you going to really execute? It's almost like construction and your milestone payments, right? So they're just like, no, I'm not going to give you the $6 million to build this building. I want you to show me that everything passes and it's good. You're not cutting corners. And I think that's phenomenal. It's actually one of the many reasons why I selected you to do my SEO is because I will happily pay you for what you do all the time. Also, you're pretty cool, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah, and so I always, of course, manage expectations. Like, will you achieve everything you want in your life in 2 weeks? No. Like, it will take a couple months, but you should see improvements as we go. In 2 weeks, you will see a little bit of improvements, a month. And so that's also helpful because people say, I hired this SEO company, and they said it takes 6 months. And I'm like, well, you see any growth?
Along the way?
No, well, it's kind of like working out,
Yeah.
Will you be ripped right away? No, but you will eventually, and you'll see, you don't just get ripped in one day, like overnight. You work it out for a year, you don't see anything, and all of a sudden you're perfect, right?
Yeah.
So that's big. And so once business owner, it's just managing expectations as well. It's
Absolutely.
huge, so.
You are quite an effective communicator. I've always been clear on the path and the conversations that we've had. And I've also communicated how daunting my tasks for you are going to be. With the launch of the new updated website for me, everybody pray for Cooper. Because he's going to be busy.
Which is all right.
All right. So who's your idol and why?
I was thinking about this. I don't want to be the typical, my dad, even though he is. My parents, I think the idol for me is people that come from places that aren't necessarily like destined for success. Like me, living in America, middle class, upper middle class, I kind of was destined to have a good life. But some people that don't have the opportunities I have and still create success and make a difference in the world, those are my idols, because if they can do it, I can do it. And so even looking at yourself, right? I mean, if you can become, the success you're becoming, then of course I can. So I think that at the end of the day, it's people that inspire you. And while I'm not necessarily like an idol worshiper, I look at people and like I'm inspired by people like you, or people that came from less circumstances, you know what I mean, than I have. And I think that is it one particular person? I don't think so. I think it's a characteristics of people that can look at, defeat or, lack of, and say, okay, I'm still going to push and we're still going to make something happen.
Absolutely. It's a collective, so to speak. There is a gentleman for me that has been an idol, and he'll probably see this eventually, but he's a very busy guy. His name's Brandon Mendenhall, and he has cerebral palsy.
Oh, wow.
He's a friend that I met through, believe it or not, listen to rock music.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite band's Korn. So, but we met through mutual like of Korn and everything. And when he was first talking to me, he's like, I don't know if you want to, hang out or whatever. I have cerebral palsy. I'm like, my guy, no, you're fine. Let's hang out. You're totally cool. So, he rehabilitated his left side. So for those that don't know what cerebral palsy is, basically it's like having a stroke when you're born. And so it debilitates part of your body, right? Wow. So the left side of his body just wasn't functioning the way that it normally does, right? He picked up the guitar and was like, wanted to be like this rock star. Even to this day, he's like, I'm going to party like a rock star. I'm like, okay, wow. Brandon. But he rehabilitated his entire left side by playing guitar. And then, because he's from Illinois, I was in Cali at the time, and he moved out to Cali because he's going to follow his dreams. Music industry is brutal.
Yes.
It's beyond brutal, okay? Like, there's all kinds of people of all types in the music industry. And for him to have gone to school, do production and all that kind of stuff, and play music and start his band, the Mendenhall Experiment, he's toured with different bands on the road, big bands. He's like personal friends with the people of Korn. They've even been featured on his album. Wow. Like, he's slaying it, okay? And he to me is an idol because it's like against all odds and everything. He just kept trucking through all the haters and everything. He kept plowing through. And with not only just a physical disability, but there's a lot of mental that goes with that, So just like what you said, it's like when you look at people who have succeeded and done what they've done despite the odds, you're just like, what am I whining about?
Like what is, exactly.
I'm just like, Brandon, he's my spirit animal. Anyway, I hope he doesn't watch this. He'll be like, Keasha, what are you doing?
Blushing. I know he's blushing right now.
Okay, so rapid fire questions. Okay, this is like options, and you got to quickly. You don't get to think about it. You just get to quickly answer the question. Okay, just for all those who know, he didn't get any preface to these questions. So, all right, Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Savory. Movies or music?
Movies.
Cars or trucks?
Trucks.
Okay. This is 3. Sneakers, boots, or Crocs?
I'm thinking sneakers. And I like Crocs a lot.
I was about to say, it's an emotional question.
Yes.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall?
Summer.
Summer? Dogs or cats? I already know the answer to this one.
I've got 3 beagles. So.
They're so cute. Yep. Red or blue?
Blue.
And are you introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
I believe it.
Which, could you imagine?
Well,
a lot of people are like, wow, I can't believe it, but
really?
I like being alone.
Yeah, so like, here's my theory on introverts. They're a gift.
Yeah.
And it's because they're very quiet, but when you get them to open up, it is a gift. They're the most hilarious people you will ever get to know. Yeah. Like, seriously, they will crack you up for days. But when they're out in public, you're just like, come on, man, if which people would know what you were like.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Believe it or not, I'm like in the middle. Like, I can... Like, in public situations, I'm like, I'll analyze and I'll melt into the wall. Yeah. But, like, I see you guys.
Yes.
But, I have no problem just going up and saying hi to people or whatever and smiling and stuff like that. I'm not all like, people are bad.
So tell us about your new business venture, because we talked about myself, but I want to plug you because, of course, I'm going to post this all over my social media and everything like that. So I want them to know who you are and what you've got going on.
Okay. So my company's name is KC Wrap Co. And it doesn't nearly explain the plethora of things that I do for my clients. So the reason why I came up with wrap is because basically I wrap anything.
It's not the music industry, right?
Right, exactly. Right? No, not the RP. Oh my God, if I tried to rap, like you could like shut it down. Shut it down. Yeah. Not good, not in a good way. So maybe in a past life. But so I wrap vehicles, and the most common thing that I get, they're like, oh yeah, so your company does, but not you, right? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I wrap the cars.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
Thank you very much. So box wraps, and people are like, what the heck is a box wrap? And so basically, it is, you know how you get different customized boxes and printed boxes and things like that. I wanted to come up with a solution for small businesses, because typically when you try to get customized boxes, you have to buy these big quantities and all these custom things, and then there's setup fees that are like thousands, and it's like, come on, guys, small businesses can compete, and kind of a long-winded way to say this, but like, so pandemic, everything, a lot of businesses have transferred into more of a shipping kind of consumer market, right? So a lot of these small businesses, subscription services and things like that, they need boxes, but they can't go buy them like, 10,000 boxes. They're like, what am I going to do with all this, right? Yeah. So I was like, okay, what can I do that's cheap enough and effective for them to get their message across and for them to look really good, right? So box wraps. So awesome. I did a test pilot a long time ago. I sent it to my daddy.
Yeah. So you can trust on.
Yeah, as you can tell me, I turned into like a 5-year-old when I talk about my dad. But a big old box, because my dad was so gracious to order signs and stuff from me. He's in Oregon, and he's a watermelon stand guy.
Wow.
And, he's like, I want people to really see me. And, I was like, okay, Daddy, I'll make you some signs. He's like, I'm not talking about just a couple. I need you to send me a ton of them. I'm like, okay. He's like, and I want them custom arrows and this and that. Right. So I was like, okay, Daddy. Yeah. So I was like, hey, you got a surprise coming along the way. Yeah. And then I got his wife in on it. And I was like, hey, Jerry, I want you to get his genuine reaction. Okay. So give you a little backlog about my daddy. Deacon, okay. Very serious guy.
Yes.
Okay. He's like, like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
Like, I can joke with my dad. I've joked with my dad a couple times, and he's hung up on me. That's how serious he is, okay?
No games.
No games, right? So, and he's not a man that really believes in emotion. Okay. He's very stoic. Okay. So I put on this box, and I was like, oh, I could do pictures of my dad when he's young, because like I used to tease him all the time. I'm like, you look like Bruce Leroy.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, if I put that on public and it's on blast and it's on his front porch, he will be mad, right? So I was like, no jokes. I was like, okay, let's go the sentimental route. So I just put on the side of the box, said, from the heart, for the heart. His last name's Hart, right? And then I did my company thing, because I wanted to see the traffic that came from people looking at it, wise marketing.
Yep.
And then on the other side is a photo of me, and it says, this girl loves you. Yeah. Right? And so I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Yeah. So the box arrives at the door. Jerry gets on film. My dad walks in, and he goes, what are you doing? I feel like you're filming me.
It's like, what the heck?
And then Jerry's like, because I am. Yeah. He's like, why? So he's like, oh, did Keisha's box come here? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, go look at it. And he's like, all right. And he goes, and he's like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay. And then you can tell it hit him. And he's like, oh, I got to get my cutter, open it up. And she's like, I'm going to pause the video. Your dad's going to take a minute to get the cutter. So he comes back. She goes, turn the box around, right? And so he turns it around, and he goes, well,
he's like, made cry.
This guy loves you too. Cut it off.
Cut it now. Yeah.
I was like,
mid tears. Yeah.
So I got a Marco Polo later from my dad. He's like, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me. Good. He's like, just so you know, I went ahead and I cut it out and I put it in a frame.
Good.
Like, okay. So just a testament to the impact that imagery or sentiment can go to people. And it's not just for business, so if somebody's wanting to send, like, whether it be a prank box or whatever, within reason, I'll just carve that one out. And they can do that because I can wrap the box. You know, you don't have to get a custom size box and all that stuff. So anyway, box wraps. And then the marketing side. I do stuff on the digital and physical platform. So digital platform, websites we were talking about earlier. Yes, I do websites. They are very time intensive.
Yes. You need websites.
Yes.
Then come to us for the rankings.
Yeah, exactly. Like we partner up. Like SEO, like I'm skilled.
Yes, you know the lingo.
But I'm not a master. Like so I'm like, y'all need to talk to Cooper.
Yes. Which I'm not I'm a master explaining it, but implementing it.
Yeah, whatever.
It's my employees that are, because it again changes so much where they're like, hey, this is what's changed. I said, okay, well, can you simplify it for me? And then, like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing to mention too. Like with SEO, it's like you can't just one and done it either.
Like the new Google update that just came out with the spam. Yeah.
Exactly. Or like as your company changes and it grows, or different things that you may offer as you're going along, you realize like this is not working for me. This is going to work for me. Like that's I think is the biggest benefit of you continually working on my site is because while I think, at times like I'm super amazing and I got the coolest idea ever, it may not be. Like, it's like, okay, I got to renege that. And, thank you for not crying at your work going to the wayside.
I'm not mine.
Okay.
It happens more than you think.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not a big deal.
And then on the physical platform, it's like signs and oh my gosh, there's just so much like commercial print that deals with like postcards, handouts, retractable banners. Basically, if you can print on the surface, I do it. And it's like so magical. Yeah, for real though. For real. I could do frisbees. I can even do phone cases and all that kind of stuff. I have a big machine, the big Mama Jamma, that will hopefully be arriving here in like December, maybe January timeframe.
Wow.
Like her name is Bertha. Like it's a big old machine, and she can print on any surface.
Wow.
So I'm super stoked.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's me in a nutshell. And then the hidden thing about my business in working with the clients, I'm kind of an advisor.
Yep.
And
consultant.
Exactly, a consultant. Yeah, and it's listening to them and finding out where their passion is, where they want to go. Like I ask some of the most unconventional questions when we have a consultation because I really want to understand your direction, and that's how I developed the marketing campaign. Like I had a lovely lady with Side Piece Suites talk to me, and she's like, "I need a website," and I'm just like, whoa, hold on a second. Kind of like you did, pump the brakes, you know? And I was like, you do sweets. Yeah. You do the most beautiful candies and just amazing. And the fact that her name is Side Piece Sweets just cracks me up. I'm just like, and she knows what it is. I'm just like, okay. Yeah. But she came in, I was like, I would love to charge you tons of money and do a website for you. I was like, but I'm not going to recommend it. I was like, you're in a custom food industry and the best market for you is social media. 100%. I was like, Instagram, Facebook, you can do TikToks and things like that. I was like, the more you're in front of people and the more they eat up that marvelous personality of yours and you're showcasing on all the photos, that's how you're going to get those big businesses. You're going to get interest and all that. I was like, a website, when I go to look up a food person, the only time I go to a website is to order. Yeah, exactly. You know, what interests me is when it's in my feed or when I see them or like, I love that person, you know? So she goes, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, as much as I want to take your money. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work out that way.
And
so.
That's the biggest thing. Like where we're filming Black Banner Productions, Ben and Dawson is kind of like the consultant side of things where like, when business owners come to you and they ask you questions, you know, they're putting a lot of trust in you. And so I came here, I was like, okay, I want to do this, this, and this. And they're kind of like, no, you don't want to do that. Let's just go from. So I think that's big as well to know that. I think the common thing is just trust. And I know when like, okay, when you ask me a question, I'm not just going to point to like the most expensive. You know what I mean? So that's big also with you to mention that. So that's awesome.
I just, want to conclude. Seriously, thank you so much for being a part of my small business. Sorry. There we go. I want to thank you so much for being a part of my small business spotlight. And seriously, you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
You really are. And the fact that you simplify everything for business owners to navigate the technical world of the internets.
The fun time.
Yes, I think is a very important business that is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I really do wish you more
Hopefully.
and more success. And anybody who needs SEO, highly recommend you from
thank you.
personal experience and from reviews that I've heard from others. And I am so blessed to have you in my network.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you
Thank
so,
you so much.
much.
And I'm sure we'll be talking a lot.
All the time. All right, thanks.
Yep.